and welcome to your third topic lesson. So this one, as it says, is all about exploring the climate in Mexico. Now we're going to start by a quick quiz to make sure that you've been listening to the past few lessons, especially the last one. So make sure that you have a piece of paper and a pen or pencil. And let's get ready. So number 1, which continent is Mexico in? Give you a little bit of time. You might need to pause the video. Okay, the answer is North America. So you can see there's a little picture of what North America looks like. Remember that the USA, America, and Canada are also in North America. Okay, question number 2. Which ocean is next to Mexico? Again, you might want to pause the video to have a little think and write it down. The answer is the Pacific Ocean. Remember, it's that huge ocean. Now, the Gulf of Mexico is the little sea that's right next to Mexico. So the Pacific Ocean is the big ocean that's right next to it. Let's see the next question. Question number 3. What is the capital city of Mexico? See if you can remember this one. Give you a little bit of time to write it down. The answer is Mexico City. Well done if you got all 3 of those right. That's really good news if you did. Well done. As I've got my little picture on there and she's saying genius, you are a genius. So let's start thinking about the climate. So you might not have heard that word before. So we're going to look at what it means. And we need to make it very clear in our heads about the difference between weather and climate, because sometimes people use them to mean the same thing when they're not. So let's first look at weather. So the weather is short term, it changes day to day, and especially in this country, it can sometimes change within a few minutes. Okay, so let's look at climate now. So climate is long term. It's the typical weather conditions over a long period of time. So there's lots of experts who look into climate and they do lots of graphs and lots of measuring of what happens each day. Sometimes it can be of a period of about 30 years. They measure what the weather's doing each day to get a general idea of what the climate is. So it's the typical weather conditions, but it's longer term than the weather. It's how the atmosphere behaves over a long period of time. And as I said, that can be about 30 years. So just to get it even clearer in your heads, weather tells you what to wear each day. So when you look at the weather forecast and decide whether you'll bring your coat to school or not. And the climate tells you what type of clothes to have in your wardrobe. So for example, you might put your woolly jumpers away when it gets to about, sort of April time. When it stops being so cold, March, April, you might put all of your woolly jumpers away or vacuum pack them or something like that. So let's look at the climate in Mexico. So this is the general idea. So this is called a climate map. So we can see it's got the shape of Mexico and then it's colour coded for each climate. Now don't worry too much if you don't understand this properly, because we're going to think about it and have a little chat about it now. And it doesn't matter too much if you don't understand it, it's just to give you the sort of your first idea of it all. So the first climate that we're going to look at is tropical wet. So you can see it's that darker green colour. And you can see on the colour code as well, and I've done an arrow towards it. So I think, that's the only part of Mexico that's tropical wet conditions. So this is a picture of what tropical wet conditions look like. So you can see it's like a rainforest. So some of you did rainforests last year. This is tropical wet and dry. So you can see on the key at the bottom, it's all of the blue parts. So you can see that that's what it's like in the when it's wet and when it's dry. So it changes a lot, that one. This one is semi-arid. So it's that darker yellowy brownish colour that covers quite a lot of that middle part. And that's sort of kind of deserty. So arid means desert, which we'll be looking at on the next slide. So semi-arid is semi-desert. So the next climate that we'll be looking at is this one, which is the arid climate. So that just means the desert. So you can see in that picture that it looks very dry. So you should know all about that from when we did ancient Egypt. So it's harder for things to grow there. Things have to adapt to be able to survive in that climate. Next is that lighter green colour, which is the temperate with dry winters climate. So if I tell you that England, where we live, has a temperate climate, so we have a fresh summer and a mild winter, then it's just like how we just like where we live, but without as much rain. So it has dry winters. Then the next one is that turquoisey colour, which is the humid subtropical climate. So you can see by that photo how humid it looks. So it would be really hot there. It would feel quite clammy. Next, and the last one, is the Mediterranean climate. So that has hot, dry summers and cold, wet winters there. So those are all of the climates in Mexico. I just wanted to show you that so that you could see how much variety is in Mexico and how there are so many different climates in this one country. So you've got an activity to do now, which will be on a Google document, and then you'll be able to submit it to me. You're getting really good at submitting things to me now. So as always, if you can't do it on the Google document, you can write it on paper and then submit it to me instead. Take a photo and submit it. I hope that you've learned something today and that that's been interesting for you. And I will see you next time. Bye and good luck with the activity.